Okay, Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. In our previous video, we had discussed a number of basic pointers related to your CI syllabus, and we stopped till the content overview. Today, I'm going to discuss that what are your assessment objectives and what are the components of your exam and how are you going to be assessed. Okay, and we'll look into the learning outcomes as well, that what do you mean by learning outcomes and everything. So let's talk about your assessment overview. So, how are you being graded and what are the exams you have to give? So, you have to basically give three exams. Each and everyone has to give, like all the students of biology will be giving three exams, paper one, paper two, and paper four. Here in Pakistan, we give paper four only, but overall, if we look at the assessment criteria, then it could be paper three or paper four. That means paper one and paper two are compulsory. Among paper 3 and paper 4, you will have a choice. So let's discuss each paper one by one. Your paper 1 is your multiple choice question paper. As you already have attempted number of multiple choice question papers before. So as always, there are four options A, B, C, and D. And you have to choose among A, B, and C, and D the correct answer. MCQ is of 40 marks and it is a 1 hour paper, right? So as you if you look at this page, you will see 30% mentioned in front of multiple choice questions. This 30% indicates the weightage contribution of MCQs in your overall result. So in your overall result, 30% of the marks would be from the MCQs. So you have to score very well in this paper, right? And then when you talk about paper two is your theory. So we will mention 509022 or 21. Two refers to paper two refers to, the theory paper. The theory paper consisted of 80 marks and it has a total of 1 hour 45 minute time. In this 1 hour 45 minutes, you will be answering the short questions, which are short structured questions. And both MCQs and theory paper are externally assessed. That means they will be assessed somewhere else other than your school. Theory contributes 50% in your overall result. 80 marks are a lot of marks, and 50% is your contribution from your theory exam. What would be the kind of questions you will be facing? I'll tell you later, inshallah, in the same presentation, right? So what are the practical assessments? We have two type of practical assessments. Either you are going to physically perform the practical test, which is paper 3, or you're going to attempt a theoretical paper, which is known as alternate to practical. It both the papers would have the same marks, 40 marks, and the weightage is 20%. But you have a choice. In Pakistan, we give ATP only. ATP is also externally assessed, and it is consist of experimental skills. Like that means there you will have questions related to experiments. They'll tell you about the procedures and mechanism they have used for performing a particular practical, and they'll ask you that they'll ask you that how are you going to analyze the data, what are the experimental techniques which have been used, what should be the results, and what could be done in order to improve the experiments, and how would you design your own practical um, in order to perform, or in order to analyze a particular experiment. Like say for example, uh, some one of the student has done this, and if he or she has done on this particular variable, if we change the variable, how would you proceed with the same exam, with the same experiment, I'm sorry. So this is how your alternate practical would be, alternate to practical exam would be. So there are certain assessment objectives on the basis of which you will be assessed and marked. And these assessment objectives basically are going to tell you that what are their expectations from you and what you should expect from the paper, what should be included in the exam. So assessment objectives, there are three types of assessment objectives: AO1, AO2, and AO3. You have to look into these very carefully. AO1 refers to your knowledge and understanding. That means what you know already, what you understand about a particular topic is AO1. AO1 will be dealing with the facts, the laws, the definitions, and then the concepts and theories. So, the definitions would remain the same, the laws and the facts will remain the same, the theories are somewhat similar. So this is all about your basic knowledge, the basic knowledge. Then it will also deal with the scientific vocabulary and terminologies. As I've told you, that it is very, very important to learn about the biological terminologies, because that will distinguish your biology exam from other subjects. So biological terminologies and vocabularies, and then there are different symbols, the quantities and the units that are being used, which are related to the conventions which we are using, the scientific conventions. So this is also something which is understandable. This is knowledge base. Okay, then you have to understand that what are the instruments and apparatus you require to perform particular a technique, a particular experimentation, and the methodologies, the technologies you are going to use. So these are the basic knowledge and understandings of your syllabus. But what are you going to what is AO2? What do you understand by AO2? AO2 is related to handling the information and problem solving skills. How are you able to, handle the information? The information can be given in the form of a table. It can be given in the form of a diagram. It can be a graph. It can be a numerical value, whatever, or a symbolic presentation of something. How well you're able to identify, understand, and interpret the data. This is your information handling and problem solving skill. You have to, learn to organize and, organize the information that you have. You have to translate the information from one form to another. What do you mean by from one form to another? Like, you will be given the different data in the form of diagrams. So you should be able to, understand that what does this diagram tells you, what is basically what is being asked in this particular diagram. So there are a number of things that you need to understand, along with the other ways of asking, like the tables, the data, the graph, and all such informations. Then you have to learn the patterns that can be seen. You should be able to identify the patterns which are shown in a particular graph. Either it's a line graph or a bar graph, or even a table. If a table is showing some numerical values, you have to learn, or you should be able to analyze the pattern, that something is increasing or something is decreasing or something is getting stationary. It is what is actually given in that particular data. So again, handling the information, that means whatever they are giving you, how are you going to analyze? Then you have to make certain predictions related to it, that what do you think about this? What does your knowledge and understanding along with this data tells you? And what is your interpretation about that data, right? And how are you going to solve the problems which are related to quantitative uh, values, quantitative nature questions? How are you going to deal with them? So knowledge and understanding are basic information, the knowledge, the understanding, the theories, the facts, and the equipments being required, vocabulary and everything. And when we talk about handling information, then how are you basically able to, how much you are able to analyze the data which is given. AO2 is a very, very important skill. Remember why it's an important skill? Because AO2 actually is referring uh, to the information, to the data which is provided to you from the examiner, and you have to learn that skill, that you should be able to analyze what is given and what are your interpretations related to it. And there are, like, there are certain narrow ranges in which you have to work. So handling of information needs a lot of attention and obviously focusing. Then the AO3. AO3 is related to experimental skills and investigations. What do you mean by experimental skills and investigations? As I've told you that we have paper 3 and paper 4. Paper 3 is practical tests and paper 4 is ATP. So how are you going to perform the experiment? Understanding an experiment is something else, and performing the experiment is something else. So you should be able to, demonstrate your knowledge. You have to you should be able to, use the right techniques, the apparatus, the material, and then their handling precautions, how well you are going to deal with them. Accuracy is required in systems while you are doing any kind of experiment. You must have done in chemistry as well, in physics as well, the accuracy of handling the equipments. And then whatever the result you are getting out of your experiments, how well you are able to interpret and evaluate that result. Are you like, do you, what are the informations you are getting from something, and how you are actually analyzing the data is very, very important. And then eventually you have to learn the ways of improving your experimental skills or a particular experiment. How are you going to improve that experiment? So this is AO3. So let's see how it is coming in your exam. As I've told you, the weightage. See, uh, assessment objectives have a lot of weightage, right? So if you look at this box is telling you about how it is assessed in your exam. In your paper one, which is MCQ, 63% of your paper would be related to your knowledge and understanding. But 37% of your paper would be your data, the tables, the graphs, the diagrams, and other stuff. So that will contribute the 100%. That means there is no AO3 required because you're not performing any experiment in AO3, but you should be able to analyze the data and you should have to use your knowledge. So AO1 and AO2 will comprise of 100% of your total weightage of total content of your paper one. The same applies to paper two. Paper two may be, you will see that the knowledge and understanding, it has 63% and handling of information has 37%. That means most of your paper will be related to your knowledge, but you will get a number of questions which will ask you about, analyzing the data or thinking out of the box. So using your knowledge with the practical skills. Not practical skills means I'm not referring to the experimental skills, but practical skills means that to the case studies, to the situations, to different conditions, and then you have to see that are you able to use your knowledge and in order appropriately in order to handle the information which is given, right? Paper 3 and 4 has all experimental skills investigations weightage. So 100% of your paper will be related to experimental skills. So for today, I think this is enough. Now, let me show you what is this. In the next, inshallah, in the next video, I will be starting with the chapter of cells. And this is the learning outcomes of the chapter cell. So as we move forward, inshallah, in every chapter, I'll show you the learning outcomes and we will follow. These are basically the expectations of CI from you. That means that if you are studying about the cell, then these things should be understood very well. So this is your learning outcome. So I'm winding up here for now. I hope you find this video interesting and valuable. If you like my channel, please subscribe it, like it, and share it with your friends so that they can also learn. And if you want any kind of improvement and changes, please let me know. All your comments will be highly appreciated. Jazakallah. Allah Hafiz.